Be a good little fella now and open the door.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
So I might have lied a little bit about saying Die Hard would be the conclusion of Return of the Classics. Actually, to conclude this marathon, we're not only looking at Die Hard, but we're also looking at the 1986 film The Nutcracker, which is somewhat of a tradition here in the Pacific Northwest. I mean, Seattle was a big place for the performance of the Nutcracker, and it says here in the film that basically the Nutcracker was first presented at the Seattle Opera House on December 13th, 1983. That was like many, many years before I was born. But first, let me talk about Die Hard, because, yeah, everyone thinks this is a Christmas movie. It takes place on Christmas Eve, so it's a Christmas movie. But it's like, this has nothing to do with the holiday season. People say, screw you, it's Die Hard. Well, this doesn't say what the true meaning of Christmas is. Screw you, it's Die Hard. And I could sort of see why they're saying Die Hard's a Christmas film. But you gotta really think about it. I mean, sure, it's an action film, it stars Bruce Willis, and it would spawn upon thousands of sequels for this film. Which started as the first one, and then had a sequel, then another, and then another, and another, and another one. But we're not here to discuss that. Excuse me. We're just here to take a look at this. So obviously, Bruce Willis stars as the main protagonist of the film. Trying to think of the name. Bruce Willis stars as the protagonist, John McClane, while there's terrorists essentially trying to steal money and inside this huge building. Sort of the interesting fact about this is that the whole entire movie not only is it shot in LA, but it's also shot at the Fox Plaza. Yeah, seriously, this is the Fox building. It's big, it's grand, it's action-packed, it's filmed to the brim with suspense and drama and all that good stuff. But it somewhat has its funny moments, like Bruce Willis is yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. I can't even say that, especially around this time, because, you know, Christmas and all. But with that said, Die Hard is essentially a good action film. But it'll take you a while to get used to the fact that this, in fact, many people say it's a Christmas film. Heck, this was even the first film I saw at last year's 28 Days, when I, had the whole journalistic form idea. Next, we have the 1986, never released in theaters, and someone got curious of it and just decided to add it to this list, and I saw it on someone's Twitter feed. That would be the 1986 adaptation of The Nutcracker. Now, here's a little something. I remember seeing the ads for The Nutcracker a lot here on my Seattle stations. I mean, I've seen, the ads, and they've had, the original production for so many years. And, unfortunately, this year, 2014, and I say that because if you're probably viewing this in 2015 or sometime in the future, you know for the fact that they're going to change that they've already changed the production. And, how do I put it? Essentially, the production for this is, of course, changing. And this is probably one of the more original ones. But, as I stated before, the first performance of this was presented at the Seattle Opera House here in Seattle. And in Washington State. And I do mean Washington State, not the D.C. one. I think D.C. should start calling themselves District of Columbia. Stop stealing the name Washington, D.C. But essentially, the Nutcracker has been a ballet I really wanted to see when I was young. I really wanted to see this. It looked really big. It was real grand. The ads, I mean, my lord, the ads were amazing. But I never really got it. But we've never gotten our tickets. The only thing I went to last year was a Trans-Siberian Orchestra performance of The Lost Christmas Eve. And that was big and grand. But I don't know. Nah, I wouldn't compare it. Wouldn't compare the Nutcracker to something like this. But with that fact, here's something for you. The Nutcracker is essentially one of my favorite, if not my favorite, adaptation of this. The only version of Nutcracker I've seen is the one with Tom and Jerry in it. You know, the one that's sort of aimed towards kids and it has, like, sort of dialogue-heavy performances. This one just has the narrator and the music. Nothing more, nothing less. Except for the fact that they use a different version of the Wilhelm scream, but that's not important. Overall, I really love the performance of the Nutcracker. It's one of my all-time favorites, and definitely I probably look forward to seeing it next year. Who knows? I mean, so far, Return of the Classics has been one of my favorites. As you probably know, it lasted as long as it did. But of course, I gotta rush through 2 other productions since there's a lot of bad Christmas specials that I have to cover. But tomorrow, we start our marathon, The Public Domain Menace and Attack of the Doctor, all within this weekend. So The Public Domain Menace starts tomorrow, and Attack of the Doctor starts Sunday. Which I'll be lucky enough if I could find a good, like, Christmas special of the Doctor. But essentially, I'll get you more information tomorrow on what we're covering. So, with that said, I'm Ferbguy, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for the new marathon.